Hi Barb, I want to show you a glitch in the machine. I actually don't know if it's a glitch or not. There's a couple models that do this, but on the underside of this piece where the one goes this way, where you need to thread it first, you had it like this, where it sits on top of this plastic. There was two grooves underneath here that were worn right into this plastic piece because the thread wasn't snapped down. I'm going to get a spool of dark colored thread so you can see it better. And the only way those two grooves get there underneath the plastic is if you don't pull this down. So you need to continue like you're going to thread it and then snap it. You can hear that snap when it goes into where it belongs. If you don't hear that snap, it means it's riding up too far and there's a bracket under there that it needs to go under, or a spring, actually, not a bracket, and then just continue to thread it. So those two grooves that were in this plastic piece, I don't have a new plastic piece in this model. I have a plastic piece, but it doesn't fit this machine. Like I said, you need to snap that in there. I did take a file and I filed those grooves out of there. But if it continues to give you problems, I don't know. I did take the machine apart and oiled it again, although there was plenty of oil in it. Right here is where I don't know if you can see that or not. There's still just a little bit of a groove because I couldn't sand too much off, file too much off. So if you want me to, I can order one of these pieces. I just don't have it. And underneath here, if you can see that little spring, that's where that thread needs to go. And if you have that thread riding all the way up here where these grooves are, it won't snap down in that section underneath that spring. Then down here on your needle plate, this is the machine, the 7700 is the needle plate switches back and forth, which obviously wasn't a real good design because I think this is the only machine that has that. So when I took your needle plate off, which I always do, well, obviously I take it off when I clean them, but I always clean this area. I take a Q-tip. I have some small ones, but a regular Q-tip will work too. And clean all up inside here because this mechanism is so small. Hopefully you can see that. And it has to move to switch this back and forth. So take a cotton swab and clean all the, it was pretty gunky underneath there. So that could be the problem too. And then I put just a couple drops of, I use Triflow, but you can use sewing machine oil. Just a little bit right there, probably, and one drop or a half a drop there. And quite a bit went on there, so I'm going to absorb just a little bit of that and take it back off. Then it'll move a little easier. When you said that it was squeaking when it goes down, the needle goes down in. So otherwise it looks okay underneath here. I did oil in the center of the, right in the center here, which you should be doing once every 6 weeks or so. A drop of oil. If it absorbs that drop, then put another drop down in there. And as you can see, your shuttle has been punctured with a needle, but that's been sanded off, so that shouldn't give you any problems. So I'll put it back together and stitch with it. I do have the bottom off from it right now, but everything looked fine underneath there. There was plenty of oil and lithium grease. So I'll give it a try and see how it goes. So I just finished stitching with it continuous for 5 minutes. Well, I stopped on and off, but it was between 5 and 6 minutes. And I don't hear any squeaking. So I do believe probably, even though it's helpful to clean the bottom of that plate off. I think the problem was up here. And because the thread was getting hung up on the top of this plastic piece and created those grooves, after you stitched a little longer, that thread went into those grooves. There was one on the top and one on the bottom, so it would either one. It didn't make any difference. The groove was pretty deep. So the thread would get in there and get pinched. And so as you sew, it was pulling on the needle, not letting the thread go through there right, which actually, like I said, could bind the needle up a little bit and possibly create that squeaking. So just make sure when you put it down in there and come down to your next one, you pull all the way down and hear that snap. Then it should be seated in there right. So if you have any more problems, you'll have to let me know.